More is good because then we
I
can
think so
lead in
too.
and have.
Yesterday worked out really well. Yesterday we did 2-minute breaks, and that worked out well too. In the past, again, my short experience.
That's fine.
We were doing 3 minutes.
Okay.
But I think 2-minute worked out well. So if we can do that, that would be fabulous.
Okay, sounds good. I'm going to bring you in. Here we go.
Here we go.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
Good morning. I'm Joan Marlow, and I am honored to have been asked to sub for Dr. Pat today for her show. And yeah, the question is, what would you do if you knew that no option was on the table that you were going to fail? Well, my guest today is one of those people as far as sticking to it and figuring out how to make it happen. And again, my show is typically awareness to action. Typically, I am on first and third Tuesdays at 9 a.m. And my show is all about offering journeys, my guests' journeys towards living their life's purpose. So it's all about looking at that element. And I address 5 A's in every single thing we're doing. The first A, of course, is awareness. The last A is actions. But what happens in the middle between that awareness and that action? One piece is acknowledgement. The other piece is acceptance, and it's all in a beautiful wrapper of authenticity. So those are the 5 A's. So I hope you'll consider joining me and visiting some of the episodes that I've already done. And it's amazing how the universe presents information that's needed at this moment in time. So not only was I provided the opportunity to have Dr. Pat's show today, being Cinco de Mayo, because my guest, Luann Lennox, is the founder of a business called TequilaSnobs. So how appropriate that she said, hey, we've got an available spot on Cinco de Mayo. So yesterday was part 1 and today is part 2. But again, the universe continued to share really cool information. So this morning during my early morning mindfulness and meditation practice, the device that I'm using actually had the topic of creative play and creative fun. And I just smiled to myself because I know what's ahead for you folks as far as what Luann has to offer. And I am all about fun as well. My power statement is I'm open, honest, and fun. So if I can't be open, I can't be honest, I'm not going to have fun. I'm not doing it. So that's another reason why Luann is also a personal friend of mine. But what's even better is that during this practice this morning, information came to me. There was a Pablo Picasso quote that was used to wrap the whole session up. And it was something like, every child is an artist. The problem is how to remain an artist once he grows up. And it speaks to the fact that, again, if there was no option that you were going to fail, what would you do? The other thing would be you play with wild abandon as a child. There's no judgment involved. You are just living freely. So hopefully we can take you back to that world and in those thoughts through the help of Luann. So let me share a little bit about Luann. Luann Lennox is the founder of TequilaSnobs and is very passionate about Mexico's favorite spirit, tequila. She's been doing in-person tequila tasting parties and corporate events for 8+ years. She's been published in local magazines and newspapers, online and in print. With the stay-at-home orders this past year, she created something she calls sipping in place events. Virtually, Luann takes her guests through an enlightening and entertaining adventure surrounding the details and tastes of the beautiful agave spirit called tequila. She educates about the growing, harvesting, making, aging, and bottling of the Southwest's favorite beverage. And I bet it's a little more expansive than the Southwest. I'm a Jersey girl, so I think we have tequila there too. She leads you to swirl and sip tequila as you would an exquisite cognac or scotch and enjoy the same as a rich Cabernet. She has converted countless tequila haters into tequila lovers because love conquers hate in all arenas of life. Her fun tagline is become enamored, not hammered with TequilaSnobs. So yesterday's show was talking about her business, TequilaSnobs, and the obstacles that she faced, etc. So my hope is that you'll go back and listen to that. Today, we're fast forwarding, and you're going to have an opportunity or a glimmer to look at what it's like to experience one of her virtual events, because today we are going to be making a margarita. We offered up an opportunity for you to get your supplies ahead of time, but again, we can share that information with you later if you don't. But she and I are going to be making our margaritas, so we are ready to roll. And again, there's awareness around every corner, trust me. So get ready for this adventure. Again, I'm Joan Marlow, and welcome Luann Lennox.
Yay. Thank you so much, Joan. Nice words.
You
Yes, we're going to make a margarita and make it virtually. And this is exactly what I do, but imagine me being one of those little squares and then all your friends and family all around you in these little squares on a video, which of course can be people all over the world, all over the nation, or just across the street and your friends. Mm-hmm. But before we really dive right into making a margarita, certainly we have to talk about the fact that today is May 5th. It's so funny to me when people say, when is Cinco de Mayo? Like Cinco means 5 and of is day and Mayo is May. So it's kind of like people asking, when's the 4th of July? Well, it's on the 4th day of July. When is Cinco de Mayo? It's on the 5th day of May. And certainly, I think, especially in the States, we get completely wrapped around that Cinco de Mayo is a Mexican holiday, and it's when we drink tequila and when we celebrate with margaritas. And why is that? Because tequila and margaritas, of course, come from Mexico and is Mexico's favorite beverage. But it kind of gets lost in the shuffle of what Cinco de Mayo really, why did and do the Mexicans celebrate? So I want to talk a little bit about that day. Like, God forbid that we only decorate with red, white, and blue stuff on 4th of July. We kind of know why it's celebrated. So the same as Cinco de Mayo. So I'm going to talk about that and that battle and such. Does that sound great?
Perfect.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so it was back a long time ago, like think Revolutionary War, just after that, or 100 years after that, in 1861 through 1862. The French and the Spanish, not Mexican, but the Spanish, the French, and a little bit of US all managed and ran and were fighting to try to see who was going to get the area Mexico, which of course included even Arizona and some of the lower states was included in Mexico at that time. And the French were over the managing director. Is that what happened back in the 1800s? I don't think so. So the big guy was Napoleon III, and he watched over the forces, and he's the one that put them to battle. And so the English, the Spanish, and the French all invaded Mexico. Well, eventually the English and the Spanish got tired of it and kind of gave up a bit of the battle. But the Spanish under Napoleon the French under Napoleon were still really, really wanting to take control of Mexico. In addition to some wealthy landowners, they wanted Mexico, and they were still fighting. So General Ignacio, am I saying that right? My Spanish, I gotta get better at my Spanish. Zargaz, he got together a battle and a group of people, but it was mostly Latin American people that were descended from Latin America and the native Mexicans. So think indigenous people of Mexico, the Zapoteco. They all got together, and it was a very, very small, very weak, I shouldn't say weak, very small and they didn't have a lot of guns, didn't have the kind of stuff that the French had, and they went to war with the French. The French had about 10 times as many people and stronger guns, just everything. They were way better equipped than the Spanish and the Mexican. However, in 1862, they won that battle. And that was on May 5th that battle won. Now I say battle because it wasn't the war continued, but there was this one battle considered the Battle of Pueblo in 1862, and they won. They beat the French, even though they were way underdogs. They totally were not expected to win. So they won that battle. So in the city of Pueblo, they really, really celebrate with speeches and parades and reenactments. But truly, all of Mexico doesn't really celebrate Cinco de Mayo. However, us Americans, just like St. Patrick's Day, just like any holiday, we love it and embrace it like crazy. It's one of my busiest times of the year. It's a great reason to celebrate Mexico's favorite beverage, tequila, which of course in tequila or in a margarita is tequila. So that's kind of where it all started. So it makes sense to celebrate making a margarita.
Mm-hmm. By all means. So can you take a couple of minutes and explain, where the tequila actually comes from? I mean, just the process of its journey to end up in a bottle.
Absolutely. In a few minutes, how about a few hours? There's so much fun stuff to talk about with it. But tequila, of course, is made from the blue Weber agave. Has to be blue Weber agave. Can't call it tequila if it's made from any other type of agave. It has to be the blue Weber agave. And the agave, of course, my logo and my little guy in the background here, if you can see him, the agave, massive, huge, big plant. Certainly they start out small, but they don't process those agaves till 8 to 12 years. That plant has to grow for 8 to 12 years before they will harvest that agave, before it's ripe enough and ready to be processed and to be used for tequila. So after that amount of time, and you said what's the difference between 8 and 12 years? There's a big difference. Well, it depends on Mother Nature, the amount of rain, the amount of wind, the sunshine, the soil. There's so much that goes into the growing of these agaves. And of course, the more expensive and the sweeter ones will come from the older, more mature agaves. Less expensive, cheaper tequilas often will use younger, not as mature agaves, but those are still 6, 8, 10 years old, as in not mature. So they dig up that agave and they chop all the picas off, which are the leaves, and what's left is this center, this massive, huge center, and that's called a piña. That center, think like an artichoke, is then baked in an oven. Now, another 3-hour conversation. There's different ways that they bake these piñas, but the traditional way is to bake it in an oven. So think about an apple getting sticky and sweet as it's baked. And then that piña is then pressed. The juice comes out of it. They ferment that juice with a very, very special individual yeast, and every distillery has their own yeast. And that's what specifically gives you the different flavors and the different nuances. And then once it's distilled, once it's fermented, then it's distilled at least 2 times and put into a bottle. When that happens, you get clear, beautiful, clear tequila. Or it's aged. Aged where? It's aged in a barrel. And there's lots that goes into the barrel aging and lots of different barrels and such. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but that's your choice. Either it goes straight into a bottle or the same juice is then rested in a barrel, which causes it to be reposado or añejo, depending on how long it's rested. Oh my gosh, that was so much information. Packed in you a little second. I'm sorry.
Reposado is the younger, and añejo is the older.
Is aged, yes. And blanco is no aging, so it's absolutely the youngest. Blanco is the youngest with no aging, and then yes, reposado is rested, and añejo is aged longer than the reposado. And every company, every brand always has at least 3 kinds, has those 3 ages, those 3 age designations, always. And why does that matter? We're going to talk as we make our margarita, different ones pair better with different types of margaritas and will give you a different flavor profile. The same as what's the difference between white wine and red wine. They're different and should be paired differently.
Well, as we get ready to go to break, I think you'll all agree that there is far more to tequila than you ever imagined. And Luann is a walking encyclopedia for this. And my hope against hope is that you're going to go away and not look at the tequila, because I certainly did. My story that we'll tell in a little bit. You won't be looking at tequila the same way you've looked at it before. So that's very important as well. So let's take a moment and go on break, and then we are going to continue our journey towards making our perfect margarita with Luann. Thank you.
All right, all clear, ladies. About 3 minutes or 2 minutes, whatever. I'd grab it. Short man complex. Sorry. Is that too easy? I said short man complex. Yeah, there you go. The biggest short man.
And it's loudest short man
Yeah.
in history.
And actually, this is Napoleon III, so he may not have been short.
Oh, that's
He was
true.
a little taller.
Yeah.
He might have been taller.
We'll give him
He
a
could have
pass.
been shorter. I
It
don't know.
says he was the president of France.
The president of France,
Yeah, that's
huh?
interesting.
President. See, I love this. See, it takes a team. It takes a village.
In 1800,
Yeah.
in 1800, did they have a presidency? Oh,
Probably.
damn it, I didn't put my hat on.
I know that. I think we need to come in from break with your damn hat on, because I love that story
Damn it.
too.
Yep.
Oh my
right.
God.
Y'all set to come in?
We're ready.
All right,
More,
stand by.
visit beyondproof.com.
Yes, we have to have fun. That was totally unexpected, as you saw on our faces. That was so wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Jacob and Benny, for helping us with that. That's certainly made for the moment. Now we're in the mood. And as we come back from break, we now see that, that Luann has a gorgeous, gorgeous sombrero on. And of course, with everything with Luann, the sombrero has a story. So do tell.
My fun sombrero. I don't know how they wear these though. Like it's so big. Can't do anything in it.
I know.
And
She
just-
begged me not to have her wear it throughout the whole show. And I
It's
said,
perfect. I'd like to wear it the whole time, but I think it'll mess up my my agave squeezing. But yes, really, really beautiful. And this is a really legitimate, you know, a real one from Mexico. A very good friend of mine gave me these, and they were her grandfather's. So I always have them just on my display back there. But what better day to sport them as today? So yeah, beautiful, big and gorgeous, but I can't make a sensible margarita with it on.
no, you
I'm
can't.
sure.
And
Now this I can handle. How about I handle this one? Do, 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 do. There.
okay, Cool.
Is that all
Perfect.
right? There, am I
We
cute?
know where it
My
is
hair
at all
sticking up?
times.
There. There, perfect. So more importantly, let's talk, look at you guys are getting to know the real me now. I'm getting all crazy. Let's talk about making Mexico's favorite drink on Cinco de Mayo. If you're not going to just sip tequila straight, which is really higher end tequila is really what I would prefer you do. We're going to at least make the perfect margarita. Good plan? Good plan.
Good plan.
Okay. So the sweet, the sour, and the buzz. Super easy. You're home watching me. There's no one around. Say it out loud. The sweet, the sour, and the buzz. Those are the three ingredients and the only things you need for your margarita. That's it. Now I'm going to go a little bit out of order because we want to talk about the lime first. That's the sour. The sour. Now I know you can get lime in a bottle. And on the back of the bottle, it'll say 100% lime juice. It's a lie. It doesn't work. I've tried it. I've bought it. And I looked at the ingredients. I actually had a really big event and I needed to make a whole lot of margaritas. So I thought, well, this is 100% lime juice. It'll be okay. I bought it. It was horrible. So that night, then I ran to the store and I squeezed 70 limes that night to make enough lime juice for my margaritas. So I'm telling you, there's nothing like it. These are very inexpensive and you've got to use a fresh lime. Now let's talk choosing the lime. And usually if I'm doing a tequila party or a margarita making party, I really have everybody show off their lime and we talk about it. And I know you're thinking lime, it should be green, but sometimes if it's a little bit yellow and a little bit sun-kissed, oh, Joan's is perfect.
Yes.
That's actually better. And in my teeny tiny brain, I think it's hanging on the tree. And rather than it being totally green, when they picked it, it was a little bit almost overripe. And if it's overripe, again, think any kind of fruit, what's that going to impart? It's going to be a sweeter, more easier, more juicy, more ripe, more sweet is always better. So little sun-kissed spot on it is okay, but above all, you also want to make sure, and I wish I had a bad one and I don't, you want to make sure that the skin is very, very smooth. Sometimes when you look at your whole pile of limes that are there at the grocery store, you'll notice that they're a little bit bumpy, like almost like orange peel. And again, to me, it feels like they didn't grow as big as they could be, like they didn't grow into the skin, right? The skin is still a little bit loose or it's just not stretched. So the shiny, smooth, stretched skin, again, have grown to full potential before they were picked. If you shop at the same grocery store as I do, I have probably touched every single one of the limes that you have at home right now, because you also want to take and give them all a little squeeze. They should give a little bit, almost like a ripe peach or a plum. They should just, or a mango, they should give a little bit. They should be a little bit soft. So you see me messing around with this lime, which I should have told you to be doing while I was gabbing. Take your lime before you cut it, and you really want to roll it on the counter. If you have a white counter, it will stain the counter. So you're better to put it on a cutting board and knead it. And just really what you're doing here is you are loosening the juice from the pulp. Joan is rolling. I can't see her.
I am rolling.
I can't see her board, but I'm thinking she's rolling beautifully.
Here's my board.
Okay, there's her board. Okay, so what you're going to do first is you grab your glass. You all have a nice rocks glass. Yes, yes. This kind of glass is perfect. A margarita glass is okay too. For a simple margarita, I always like just kind of a nice rocks glass. And you see I have, I'm going to explain my little insignia in a minute. So yeah, Joan, your glass is perfect. So while you've got that glass, you're going to take one of the ends where the stem was, and just slice that off just a tiny, tiny bit, just enough to open it up and get to the flesh. But it's a teeny, tiny little little sliver. Then you're going to take that sliver, take your glass, and give it a rim. That little piece. I've seen people do just water for this, but lime juice is super sticky. And that's the whole idea if you want to dip your glass in salt or some sort of yummy rim. A lot of people say, I don't like salt. No salt for me. It makes me swollen or it's puffy or whatever. This is, have you ever heard of tahini? Tahini is a really neat, it's a little bit of chili spice and a tiny bit of salt. You can do that if you don't love the salt. But there's just something about that sensation when you press your lips up against the glass and you've got that little spicy or salty little flavor. So I highly recommend always rimming your glass. Even if you're not gonna take all the salt off of it, I just really recommend it. But I like this little red trim is kind of fun and kind of nice. So you want to do that and set it aside. I can't tell you how many times I've put the ice in before I rim it. And I've literally turned it upside down and dropped the ice into my salt. Like, what am I thinking? So make sure you do that rim. Okay. So you've got your other half. Correct. You've got the leftover lime now. Now you're going to take this and you're going to slice it in half, regular, like, doesn't matter, but lengthways. There's my little end that was cut off, right? And I'm going to cut it this way. I don't know how to explain, but just cut it in half. Cut it in half because we're going to squeeze it. And you'll probably notice as you cut it, there's a lot of juice running out already because you really smooshed it up. So take your shaker. Now, if we weren't talking so much and spending some time, I would say you'd have ice in your shaker already. But because we're going to take a little while and I'm going to go through this slowly, I mean, truly, it should only take you 5-6 minutes to make a margarita. But because we're talking, you don't have any ice in this yet. But normal circumstances, you'd have the ice and you'd squeeze your lime right into the ice. So you have your lime squeezer, yes? Somewhere?
Yep.
Pull that out. I'm going to use my big squeezer. And both of those pieces that you cut, you're going to squeeze both of them into your shaker. It's 1 and 2. If you're using the hand squeezer, which is great, make sure you turn it sideways and really get the juice out. I'm not making any noise. It's all quiet. Okay, so, and because you don't have ice, you can really see, if you look in there, it's probably about 1 ounce. 1 lime will give you about 1 ounce of lime juice. So the sweet, the sour, and the buzz. And this was the sour. We ready to move on to the sweet?
I'm busy reading my notes from our producer. Okay, are we at a good place to do a break?
Who are
Or do
you
we wanna
asking here,
keep going?
Luann or me? I'm down for whichever there.
Okay, all right.
So when I come back, we're going to talk about the sweet. Super important. There are many sweet choices, and some of them are really bad ones. And then there's perfect ones. So we'll be right back. We're going to talk about the second step, the sweet, the sour, and the buzz. We're going to talk about the sweet.
Okay, all clear. All right, I got you out of there. Yep. That's okay. Yeah, I saw you were cutting and stuff like that, so I figured no big deal. Pardon me? No, I mean, you were in the middle of designing things. Let's see, like I said, today is a different show, like as far as style wise. So I'm up for whatever you guys want to like feel it out. I'm here behind you no matter what, like I said in the beginning. So if you wanted to take it to 40, that would have maybe made a little more sense too, because you were in the middle of designing your cocktail. So. Yeah, it's break at 30, the bottom of the hour, or 40, because that would. You said 2 breaks or 3 breaks, so that's kind of like moving the segments around. It's all good. Yeah, you're fine. Oh, again, this is really your show. To be honest, I'm right here behind you. I haven't ran your show, so I'm really open to whatever. And I know Dr. Pat has a lot of leniency on this kind of stuff, so you feel it. I really do. I don't know how you've set things up today. I'm not scripted in front of me, so. Okay. 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 Great. Sure. You can. What I'm saying is, like, you can fudge a little bit on the time, ladies. You don't have to be hard. We don't have hard breaks. So if you're feeling it, then take it. If not, then you know what I mean. I'm very loose here at this station with the 56 minutes of total talk time. So this one in particular, I'm open. Is that all right? You're welcome to, yeah. Or we can skip and go right to the top. I don't care. What works best for you, Joan? You're the kind of like leading the show here too. Like you're the host. That's what I'm like trying to feel you.
Very different. So I don't want to play quick catch up at the end. I mean, you can talk about the sweet, but I would also say, talking about the tequila, especially my experience in pulling tequilas out of my cabinet and what we found in that discussion, because I think that's a huge discussion for people to know.
Okay.
Okay, then let's not break. I'll talk a bit about the sweet and then we'll jump into the tequila.
Okay. Is that okay with you guys then too?
I'm here. Yeah, totally fine.
Cool. Okay, got it.
All righty. All right, brings us back here really close to coming back, so hang on.
Information about the Healy on my website, maryjanemack.com, or you can call the office at 888-777-4232.
I love our music. It's great. So hi, I'm Joan Marlow, and this is Awareness to Action, and I'm covering for Dr. Pat, so I'm honored to be here. My guest today is Luann Lennox, and she's the founder of TequilaSnobs. And in honor of Cinco de Mayo, we are creating and making a perfect margarita. So where we are at this point in time, we've got our lines all squozen. I guess it's squozen in our little mixers, and we're getting close to moving forward here. And now we're going to talk about the sweet, because Luann says it's the sweet, the sour, and the buzz are the 3 essentials of any margarita. So here we go.
Yes, not only the essentials, but the only ingredients you need. So the sweet, the sour, and the buzz. The sour, of course, was easy. That was your perfect line. The sweet. In many margaritas, you'll see sweet and sour mix. You'll see Cointreau or an orange liqueur. To me, as we know, tequila is made out of the blue Weber agave. So it makes sense to me. They pair really well. What grows together, blends together really well in a drink is agave syrup. 100% agave syrup. Tequila is made out of an agave. Agave syrup is perfect. There's lots of different agave syrups out there. This is one that I really like, just because it's thin. Like you want one that's pretty thin. I think about something, if it's thick like honey, then when you put it in a drink with ice, it's going to coagulate a little bit, right? So I like the ones that are thin. This one is actually found with the mixed drink area where the margarita mixes and so on are, as opposed to where the sugar is or where the honey in the agave nectar is. So this is agave syrup. One of my favorites. So this is the sweet portion, the sweet, the sour, and the buzz. This is the sweet piece. But as I talked about mixes, I do want to mention one little thing. you can buy a mix in a bottle, right? Right? You can buy these kind of mixes. And it says just add tequila. It's perfect. This mix, first ingredient, water. Second ingredient, high fructose corn syrup.
Ooh.
Then there are 10 more ingredients that honestly I can't pronounce, except for the last one, which is yellow color number 5. That's all that's in this. Don't do it. Don't do it. This is a headache waiting to happen. This is promised headache. Promised headache. I'll put that out of the camera. So sweet, the sour, and the buzz. That's all you need. So you're sweet. Let's crack open your little agave syrup. And remember, the sweet, the sour, and the buzz. With it being sweet, you can always add a little bit more, but you can never really take it out. So the sweet and the sour are equal parts. So if you're doing a pitcher, you do half a pitcher of sweet, half a pitcher of sour. If you're doing a drink, then it's 1 shot of lime juice, which is about 1 fresh lime, and 1 shot of sweet. However, disclaimer, I always do a little less. I personally like mine not as sweet, and then it's going to be lower calories and lower sugar, but it should be equal parts. But I go a little light, and then once I drink it, if it's too sour, you can add a little more sweet in. You can't ever take it out. So we did a shot of lime, and I'm going to do a little less than a shot of agave syrup. There you are with the sweet. Now, we're going to move on to the buzz. 3 guesses. The first 2 don't count. What's the buzz?
Tequila.
Tequila, indeed. Now, there's a bunch to know about tequila, and I talked about the different designations and the different ages when we started. Ideally, if you are doing just a straight up fresh margarita, I like to use a very young tequila, which is a Blanco. You don't want to use a really expensive tequila that's been aged, and they put all this time and effort into all these beautiful little honey and oak and cinnamon nuances. And then you're just putting lime and agave syrup in it. Where a Blanco is really strong agave forward. What does agave taste like? Kind of grassy and herbal. And so you want it to, you want to use a Blanco ideally. However, I like to use a Reposado sometimes too. Reposado is, and you can get less expensive Reposados, and that would be a little bit more gold one. But if it says gold on the label, don't buy that, because they're just saying gold. What they mean is they added gold color. But it's gold because it takes the color out of the barrel because it's been aged. But a Reposado will say Reposado. It won't say gold on it. How do I tell a good bottle of tequila and a bad bottle of tequila? Super simple. If you forget everything about this one tiny little thing you'll remember. Make sure somewhere on the label it says 100% agave. You'll see them, they say made of agave, with Blue Weber agave, a lot of agave in here, but that won't say 100% agave unless it is 100% agave. And anything less than 100% agave means that it's only 51% agave. And the other 49% is high fructose corn syrup, any kind of filler, brown sugar, sucralose, glycerin to make it feel more silky in your mouth. All of that, again, headache. All that equates to headache. So you just want to make sure it says 100% agave. Joan, what do you have?
So, well, yesterday when I was in my liquor cabinet pulling out my proper tequilas, and through my world of life with Luann and experiencing tequila tasting with her, I have a whole new appreciation. So I do have some sipping tequilas as well. But again, when she was saying about the light part, one of the tequilas that I pulled out was, it was clear. It was a Jose Cuervo Especial Tequila Silver, and it says it's made with blue agave. Now, what was your response immediately?
Well, it's indeed, they're not lying. It is made with blue agave, but how much? By law, it only, by Mexican law and for the distilleries, it only has to be 51% agave. And certainly it's way cheaper for companies to put fillers in, to put grain alcohol, to put sugar, to put headaches into the cheap tequila. All of you that raise your hand and say they had that horrible experience with tequila, more than likely you were younger, you had less money than you have now, and you all pulled your dollars together and you bought the cheapest, largest gallon jug of tequila that you could find. And that was one that had a lot of fillers. And that's the one that made you swear tequila off and never drink tequila again, because you remember that horrible, horrible,
Yep.
horrible
The
experience.
days after it was still hanging. So the other two that I happen to have in my cabinet was a Coralejo 99,000, which is an añejo. It says 100% de agave. And her first comment was, that's an expensive tequila to use in your margarita, but okay, that was a choice. And then my other one, and again, she taught me all kinds of things about the label. And then my last one that I had was an 1800 Reposado. And this one was a gift easily 20 years ago for house sitting when I still lived back in Virginia. And so it was aged then, so now it's even aged more. So this is like really special occasion stuff, but it's a Reposado nonetheless. So any comments about those? And then we're gonna cut to a break.
Okay. What I'll say about the añejos and the reposados, the ones that are aged, think about a red wine. So they're more aged, they taste more like honey. That oak is in there, more wood type flavors. Those type of tequilas blend really well with maybe a blackberry or a strawberry, maybe a strawberry basil or a blackberry sage type of margarita, where the one that we're making is just straight up lime and the sweet, and those blend better with a blanco, or like cucumber or jalapeno. If you're doing those type of muddles in a margarita, those work really well with the blancos. But if you think about those warmer type of tequilas, they work better with the more aged tequilas, if you're making that kind of a warmer kind of margarita. And when we jump back, we're going to mix this, we're going to shake this, and I'll talk about how to do those strawberries and blackberry margaritas and how to add on to all of those.
Because if you go away with nothing else, you're going to go away with a new appreciation for what a margarita can be. It doesn't necessarily have to be this traditional margarita that we're making. And for some of us, we might not be able to, the lime doesn't do us well. So there are other opportunities for us out there to look at the expansiveness of what margaritas could be. So on that note, let's take a break and we'll come back and actually get to our shaking portion of the session.
All right, all clear, ladies. Nice job. Well done. Great knowledge, by the way, about the agave and so forth. I just learned something today. Yeah. Right? Yeah, it's priorities of a Wednesday today. I love it. Hump day. Nah. Not here. Nope. You'll like the show. It's good. Yeah, Jacob and I were chatting back and forth. I guess it's the same with olive oil. Where if it's not from, would you say from California? If it doesn't say it's from California, or
It needs the California Olive Oil Council seal from UC Davis, and that's the only extra virgin olive oil you can get in the country, is if it has that seal on the bottle.
Oh, that's interesting. So now you're making me think maybe I'll go and find, and we've got an amazing olive mill here in our area, and family run and owned and harvested and grown, and they do their own pressing and whatever. They might be a really cool guest to talk about, again, this awareness to action, and again, their passion for the business. Okay, thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like we got a foodie show happening.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I love brainstorming.
Nice. I've got about 45 seconds left here in the break.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right.
And then we can take it right up to the top. So we have 10 minutes on the last one.
All right. Cool. So at the end, Luann, by all means, I want you to share how people can find you. And that's important. And we'll go, so make sure you give us enough time in the beginning, at the end.
Guys
so
ready to come back?
Punch.
Okay, stand by.
And just think, it's only 11:45, and here at least Pacific Coast time. So the East Coasters are already playing.
Don't we usually follow that up that it's 5 o'clock somewhere? So, alrighty then.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, so let's all celebrate. Okay, so back to Luann. So far, we've covered our sweet and our sour, and now we go to the buzz.
The important piece, the buzz. And I've talked about the different ages of the different tequilas, and I'm going to use a reposado. I think Joan is going to use her añejo. So the sweet, the sour, and the buzz. And again, normally you would have your ice in your bucket. We didn't put the ice in yet, but so far in your shaker, you should have the sweet and the sour equal amounts. So let's pretend you had already put the ice in, but let's put some ice in now. How's that loud noise?
Authentic. We need authenticity.
Yeah, sound effects are great. These are natural.
That's my ringtone, actually, the sound of ice cubes. So you've got some ice in your shaker.
Yes, ma'am.
And so we did the sweet and the sour, equal parts, and then double the buzz. Pretty easy to remember. So an ounce of sweet, an ounce of sour, and 2 ounces of buzz, or a cup of sweet, a cup of sour, and 2 cups of buzz. So it's 2 to 1, always. Super simple. Okay. And it's 11 o'clock in the morning and I'm pouring tequila. And the intention is to drink. It's crazy. But it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right?
That's right.
Okay. So there it is. So you've got the sweet, the sour, and the buzz, double the buzz, and ice. Now, before you get crazy and start shaking, remember your glass way back so long ago that you rimmed so beautifully? Drop some ice right in there. New, fresh ice.
Got it.
And fill it, fill it, fill it. Beautiful. Okay, so you've got your glass full.
Yep.
You've got your sweet, your sour, and your buzz, and some ice. Oh, if you've got little holes in the top, make sure you put the cap.
My little strainer.
Okay, this is the fun part, and imagine you and all of your friends on a screen, all of you shaking and dancing at the same time. I'm sorry I don't have some crazy fancy dance. I guess I should, but you're gonna just shake until it feels very, very, very cold. So let's go all together.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Feel cold?
Very cold.
Okay. Now, sometimes if you've got to take that cap off, you'll see bartenders really smack it. The truth is, I'm not a bartender. Never had any of that training. I just know how to make a very pure, perfect margarita. So take your little cap off or whatever you're doing, or separate it or whatever.
There we go.
And you're going to drop that right into your glass. Ooh, I got a lot this time. Now, if you're making this along with me and you used a Blanco, you're going to notice that your drink is a little lighter, right? Joan and I both used a darker tequila, so it's going to be a little more yellow. But if you're using a Blanco, of course, it's going to be more clear. Ours is going to be a little more honey flavor, a little more oak. And if you're using it with a Blanco, you're going to notice more citrus forward and more agave forward. So there it is. Tiny little thing. And I don't have it right here. I have it in my fridge. If you want to add a little splash of soda water to this, it makes it really refreshing and really nice. This sounds crazy, but if it's nighttime and it's cold here in Arizona, if it's getting like down into the 60s, I like to drink it like this. But if it's warm, if it's hot out and you want it a little light and a little citrusy, you can add a little soda water in. Now, one way to make sure that your drink is always really, really good tasting is to charge your glass. How do you charge your glass? You hold your glass up, you toast to the person that you love and the person that you're with, and you say salud. So here we go.
Salud.
Let's have a sip. If it's a little too tart, add a little more of your sweet.
Yummy.
If it's a little strong, you can drop a little more water in it, but it should be clean and fresh and just taste really good. That fresh lime and a little bit of the tequila flavors in there, but not too much.
And I think that is what makes the difference. When you have the sweeteners that they use, is that thicker taste. And I wouldn't have noticed that unless we were talking about this just now.
Right.
So it's really, really light, really, really
And
light.
a lot of those sweeteners that you can buy give you they hurt in my throat, or they'll give me heartburn. And you're not going to get that with just a straight up sweetener like agave syrup.
Yep. Well, this is fabulous. We're getting to the close of the end, towards the end of the show. And before we go, first of all, I want to say thank you to Luann for taking this time on her very, very busy day. Cinco de Mayo is her national holiday all the time. This is better than Christmas, 4th of July, birthday, all rolled into one in her world. And again, it's all about awareness to action. And it's looking at, hopefully you've heard something here that you're going to move into action and possibly start squeezing your own limes. You're never going to look at a lime the same way when you go to the grocery store. You're never going to look at a bottle of tequila the same way. And so Luann, quickly, you told me that you're going to share, so this might not be the best sipping. What are some other things we can do with this?
Oh, yes. If you ended up, and sometimes you'll get stuff like that as a gift. And I'm like, really? What am I going to do with this? You can cook with it. I cook with my lower quality tequila a lot of times because, of course, it's got sugar in it. So if you saute shrimp or you soak shrimp in it, or your fish, it blends really well with seafood before you grill it, before you put it on the stove. There's that's what I use any of my tequilas that I've ever gotten as a gift. That's got a little bit of sugar in it. It's perfect because it'll caramelize it a bit.
Excellent. Full service here. Full service.
Perfect.
So before we head out, Luann, how can people find you?
I would love you to hang out in my Facebook page, TequilaSnobs. There's more than one of us, snobs with an S. On Facebook, TequilaSnobs Community on Facebook is a group where we just all get together and talk and share ideas. I will let you into that. Tell me how you found it and jump in there. TequilaSnobs Events, more talks about what I do and the different events that I do, the corporate events that I could do, and the in-home parties, as well as these type of virtual parties that I can do. And then Instagram as well, TequilaSnobs. Same thing, pretty easy to find. If you want to write me a note, I love notes, TequilaSnobs@gmail.com. Pretty easy. I'm pretty much everywhere, but it's TequilaSnobs.
And she
Easy.
is. So the offer that she's providing our listeners and our followers is just send her an email and request the opportunity to do a Zoom virtual. It would be very, very similar to what you experienced today. So please open this up to your friends and your family all over the country, all over the world. It doesn't matter. And of course, if you are here locally with us in Arizona, in the Maricopa Pinal County area, by all means, you can consider now possibly doing an in-person event, because we're somewhat open. So again, thank you so much for being here and joining me. I'm Joan Marlow. The show is Awareness to Action. My business is called Peaceful Easy Healing. I'm a life coach, life and wellness coach, and a Reiki master, as well as an educator. Education's first in my life. And you can find information about me at peacefullyhealing.com. And I certainly look forward to seeing you on my regular show, which is the first and third Tuesdays of every month at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So thank you so much. Again, salud to you
Salud.
out there. Have a great Cinco de Mayo. Be safe. That's first and foremost, but also be smart now when you're out there shopping for all of your ingredients for your wonderfully delicious, perfect margarita that's not going to give you a hangover.
All clear.
Thank
Well
you
done,
so
ladies.
Yay.
Have a good day.
What do I do with